I'm pleased to see some of my colleagues here from the Kurchatov Institute and Minenergo. But you don't need to be a nuclear scientist to understand what happened at Chernobyl. You only need to know this. There are essentially two things that happen inside a nuclear reactor. The reactivity which generates power either goes up or it goes down. That's it. All the operators do is maintain balance. Uranium fuel. As uranium atoms split apart and collide, reactivity goes up. But if you don't balance the reactivity, it never stops rising. So, boron control rods. They reduce reactivity like brakes on a car. But there's a third factor to consider: water. Cool water takes heat out of the system. As it does, it turns to steam, or what we call a void. In an RBMK reactor of the type used at Chernobyl, there's something called a positive void coefficient. What does that mean? It means that the more steam present within the system, the higher the reactivity, which means more heat, which means more steam, which means it would appear we have a vicious cycle on our hands. And we would, were it not for this. And we would, were it not for this, the negative temperature coefficient. When nuclear fuel gets hotter, it gets less reactive. So, fuel increases reactivity. Control rods and water reduce it. Steam increases it. The rise in temperature reduces it. This is the invisible dance that powers entire cities without smoke or flame. And it is beautiful when things are normal. As uranium splits apart to release energy, it breaks down into a new element, xenon. Xenon reduces reactivity. This is the poison Comrade Homut mentioned. When the core is running at full power, it burns the xenon away before it can cause a problem. But because of the delay, Chernobyl Reactor 4 has been held at half power for 10 hours. The xenon did not burn away. It built up, poisoning the core. We're starting to lose balance. If you can't understand how a stalled nuclear reactor could lead to an explosion, I don't blame you. After all, you don't work in the control room of a nuclear power plant. At 30 megawatts, xenon is still being created, but none of it is burning away. The reactor is drowning in poison. To make matters worse, the reactor isn't hot enough to produce sufficient steam. Dyatlov wants it done now. Akimov and Toptonov have only one course of action. They begin pulling control rods out. Dozens at a time, halfway out, three-quarters of the way out, are the brakes on this car. Of 211 rods, only 6 now remain in the reactor. As for the fuel, it's gone cold, so the negative temperature code. The pumps stop moving water through the reactor. Uranium fuel is now unchecked by fresh coolant, unchecked by control rods. The balance immediately swings and the steam increases reactivity, increases heat, increases steam, increases reactivity. The remaining xenon decays away. The power is rising. There's nothing left to stop it.